Here's your General Hospital recap on what happened in Port Charles today, Friday, August 29th, 2025. Judge Heron ran into Chase at Bobby's. After she thanked him for his testimony in a case, he took the opportunity to talk to her about Willow. He wanted the judge to know Willow was a wonderful mother who deserved to see her kids. Heron spoke in general terms, and not specifically about Willow, but said, "In a case like hers, the judge would consider an individual's behavior and conduct since the last trial, if the individual maintained a clean record, and mental instability." Chase expressed his confidence that Willow would receive a just custody hearing because Heron had an impeccable record for fairness. After he left, Heron made a call to someone, saying they might have a problem because a detective was asking about the Corinthos case. She wanted to know she was covered. At the hospital, Willow let Elizabeth know she was getting back together with Drew. When Willow claimed Drew was the only one who could get her kids back, Elizabeth reminded her that he had made those promises before. But he was the reason she lost the kids. She asked her to reconsider, but Willow claimed she didn't have a choice. Elizabeth asked if she still loved Drew, and Willow responded, "Yes." "No, I don't know." She said the only thing that mattered was getting her children back. Willow remained steadfast that Drew's power would get her the kids back because she said Drew always got what he wanted. She delusionally shared the fact that Drew kept her from seeing Michael in Germany as proof that he had the power to beat Michael and loved her enough to do anything to get her kids back. Elizabeth did her best to get Willow to see that Drew manipulated her, and what he did in Germany didn't take real power, but probably a phone call and some money. Elizabeth even went so far as to tell Willow she was selling her soul, but Willow believed she knew exactly who Drew was now, and she would gladly sell her soul for her kids. Elizabeth asked what good she would be if she were only going through the motions and not actually living. She wanted Willow to understand she didn't need Drew, and she was enough on her own, but Willow maintained she didn't have a choice. Later, Chase arrived after Willow texted him. She was getting ready to tell him about going back to Drew, but Chase spoke first. He said he'd seen Judge Heron at Bobby's and had great news for her and her kids. In Portia's office, she and Isaiah had sex on her couch. Luckily, they got dressed and agreed they had no regrets before Trina popped in. Trina wanted to know why everything was happening, and Aunt Stella was arrested. Portia said, like everything she's ever done, it all came back to Trina. Trina asked if she meant it was all her fault. Portia said no, but she was right about the huge amount of tension between her and Curtis, which was a result of Drew blackmailing them. Portia admitted that Drew had proof she altered Heather Weber's blood test to make her cobalt levels look sky-high and keep her in prison away from them. She let Trina know that if Drew went forward with the evidence, she could lose her job and medical license, as well as be brought up on charges. Trina asked what Drew wanted. Portia explained it involved Curtis giving him favorable press, which Curtis didn't want to do. She explained that, after Curtis found out about the blackmail, he wanted to protect Trina as well, but had a problem with Portia's lies. Portia said by the time they came together to fight Drew, everything had taken its toll. Trina said everything happened because they were trying to protect her, but Portia said it all happened because Drew was a detestable monster masquerading as a human being. Portia was worried she had overwhelmed Trina, but Trina was happy to know everything now. "Your father and I love you very much," Portia said. "That's never going to change." They hugged before Trina left. Isaiah returned to Portia's office. She let Isaiah know about telling Trina the truth and was relieved to not be holding secrets anymore. Portia claimed her marriage was already ruined beyond repair, and all of it could be laid at the feet of Drew Kane. At Drew's office, Curtis confronted Drew and told him that coming for his family would be the last mistake he ever made. As they argued, Kai walked up to the door and overheard their conversation. He heard Drew take pleasure in Curtis and his family's suffering, as well as his plans to keep going after Stella and Portia. Drew claimed to have offered Curtis his friendship, but said Curtis spat in his face and took away the woman he loved. Curtis said Drew shouldn't have been screwing Willow's mother, and Drew told Curtis to be sure to remind Stella he was the reason she was in prison when he was talking to her through a plexiglass window. Curtis said he would see Drew dead before he let that happen and left. When Kai entered, he said he passed Curtis, who looked pretty upset on the way to the elevator. Drew said Curtis was just worried about his Aunt Stella and assured Kai he would do everything he could to help her. Kai said he was glad to hear that because Stella was really good to him after his surgery. Drew agreed, but said that if she did commit fraud, his hands would be tied. When asked if he tracked down Carly, Kai let Drew know she was at her office at the Metro Court. Kai said he was going to work on one of Drew's speeches, and Drew left. Pretending to act on behalf of Congressman Kane, Kai made a call to check on the status of Stella's investigation. It was confirmed that they were currently conducting a thorough investigation. Later, Trina showed up to confront Drew, but only Kai was there. He immediately confirmed it was Drew who had Aunt Stella arrested to get back at her dad. Kai felt like an idiot for not trusting Trina and said Drew was all the things she claimed he was. He said he would do anything to make it up to her parents, to which Trina responded, "Good, because I really need your help right now." In Carly's office at the Metro Court, she met with Danny and Rocco. It was time for their summer jobs to end. She offered them the same jobs next summer with the possibility of being promoted to lifeguards if they got certified. Before they left, Carly asked Danny if he'd heard from Jason. He said his dad was coming home soon, but it would probably be better if he stayed away. Danny told Carly about Drew accusing him of kidnapping when he picked up Scout from camp without permission, as well as about the restraining orders Drew took out against him and Rocco to keep them away from Scout. Because they were minors, the restraining orders had to be served through their legal guardians. Rocco had his served through his mom, but since Jason was out of town, Danny's hadn't been served yet, which meant he could still legally see Scout. Even though Danny could technically see Scout, Carly thought it was a bad idea because Drew was just waiting for him to overstep, and it wouldn't help Scout if they got in trouble. She advised them to let the lawyers handle it. Drew came in unannounced. When Carly asked what the hell he was doing there, he responded, "Ditch the delinquents and I'll tell you." Before they left, Danny asked why Drew served Rocco, who had nothing to do with picking up Scout from camp. Drew said Danny was only Scout's half-brother, and Rocco was nothing. Danny apologized for not calling him when he picked up Scout, but said she begged him not to. Drew claimed Danny kidnapped Scout, could have had her killed, and threatened that there was still time to press charges. Carly intervened and told him to back off. She asked the boys to leave so she could talk with Drew. Carly tried in vain to get Drew to understand how Danny and Rocco wanting to spend time with Scout was a good thing. He said she needed to stop worrying about them because she should really be worrying about Michael. Drew told Carly about his belief that Sonny bribed Judge Herron. He made the same threats he already made to Michael about an investigation and losing custody, etc. When Carly didn't respond to any of his goading or threats, he said she needed to talk Michael into changing the custody arrangements now before both of them lost complete access to Wiley and Amelia. Carly did her best not to engage and told Drew to leave. Instead, he shared what he did to Stella as a preview of what he could do and promised much worse for Michael. Once he threatened Michael, Carly told him, "You made the wrong threat to the wrong person." She said he would never hurt Michael again because she would stop him and wouldn't need Jason to do it because, "You mess with Michael, you mess with my family, I will kill you myself." Elizabeth heard the threat as she walked up to the doorway. Jordan met with Stella in the interrogation room at the PCPD. They discussed Drew's abuse of power and worried that Curtis would do something he would regret. Saying Jordan was the only one Curtis would listen to right now, Stella begged her to talk with him and stop him. Later, Curtis was waiting at the station when Jordan and Stella came back from the arraignment. Alexis worked her legal magic, and Stella was let go on bail for now. There was still the possibility of a trial, though. Jordan took Curtis to the side to try to talk him down, but it didn't work. After Danny and Rocco left the Metro Court, they went to the docks to take Jason's speedboat out. Not really having permission, Danny suggested they go see Scout since Drew was with Carly. Rocco didn't want to go against the restraining order and thought they should follow Carly's advice. Danny agreed, but joked that they should egg Drew's house tonight. Just then, Rocco spotted something in the water. They They realized it was a body that wasn't moving. Unbeknownst to them, it was Judge Heron's body. At the Five Poppies Resort, Britt woke up in her room with a mean hangover. Pascal called to chastise her for not being in the lab. As she left for the lab, she hid the burner phone Jason gave her in a decorative box. On her way to the lab, Britt came upon Pascal and Tomas talking in front of a locked room. She was suspicious, but Pascal demanded she go to the lab. Later, Britt came back to find Tomas, who was still guarding the door to where Vaughn and Joss were being held. She flirted and pretended to need him to move a server in the lab for her. After he walked off, she used her keycard to open the door and was shocked to discover Jocelyn and Vaughn. Joss pleaded with Britt to get them out of there, but Britt closed the door and ran off. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. General Hospital spoilers for Tuesday, September 2nd, reveal that Sonny Corinthos will get a corpse alert while Willow Tate continues to face consequences. Harrison Chase will also predict disaster, so there'll be a lot happening in Port Charles. We should mention that GH will air a repeat on Monday, September 1st, so keep that in mind as you make your Labor Day plans. Fortunately, the show will pick up right where things left off when the drama returns in Tuesday's brand new episode. For starters, Trina Robinson will have a plan to save her mother, so she may ask Kai Taylor to find and destroy the evidence Drew Kane is holding over Portia Robinson. Over with Carly Spencer. So, Kate, she won't share Elizabeth Baldwin's sympathy for Willow. Liz may blame Drew for his continued manipulation, but Carly will think Willow has to be responsible for her own decisions. If Willow is going to believe a word coming out of Drew's mouth, that's on her, Carly warns in Tuesday's GH preview video. As for Michael Corinthos, he'll feel the same way when it comes to Willow and her Drew messes. Michael will tell Christina Corinthos Davis that Willow made a lot of bad choices and will declare that she's going to have to live with the consequences. At the hospital, Willow will admit to Chase that she's come up with a way to get her kids back, but he won't approve. Once Willow updates Chase on her offer to reunite with Drew if he makes this happen, Chase will no doubt predict catastrophe. Chase will think Willow should just keep working on proving she's stable and trust that Judge Eva Heron will deliver a fair ruling, but Willow won't have faith in a positive outcome. Of course, Willow and Chase won't know about the shocker that's playing out down by the docks when this conversation plays out. Rocco Falconeri and Danny Morgan just found a body floating in the water, so they'll alert Sonny to their corpse discovery soon enough. Sonny will ultimately realize it's Judge Heron who faced a grim fate, so he'll know someone silenced her. General Hospital spoilers for the next 2 weeks, September 1st to September 12th, reveal that someone will seek revenge on Drew Kane and launch a daddy crisis for Scout Quartermain. Jason Morgan will also face a big twist, so let's discuss all the curveballs to come. The week of September 1-5 will start off with a repeat on Monday, September 1st, but brand new episodes will follow. Sonny Corinthos will step up to help Danny Morgan and Rocco Falconeri deal with the body they just spotted. Of course, that body will be identified as Judge Eva Heron. Jen Sidwell is presumably to blame for getting rid of Judge Heron before she could spill too much to Sonny. Meanwhile, Willow Tate's choice to get back together with Drew for the sake of the custody case will set off some alarm bells for Harrison Chase. Over with Lucas Jones, he'll push Elizabeth Baldwin to be careful. Liz may be getting too tangled up in all Willow's drama as far as Lucas is concerned. Portia Robinson also has an announcement in her future, so we'll see if that involves her divorce from Curtis Ashford or another plan instead. Whatever the case, Curtis will confide in Jordan Ashford, so he may admit there was some truth to Portia's insistence that his heart still belongs to his ex. Next, there'll be a 911 call and a crime that rocks Port Charles to the core. Assuming this is separate from what happened to Judge Heron, this may be when Drew finally goes down. Someone may try to eliminate Drew and leave him clinging to life somewhere. Drew might be rushed to GH in a desperate fight for survival, while Chase and Anna Devane ultimately interrogate some suspects. As for Nina Reeves, she'll resort to some risky behavior. We'll see Nina take a gamble of some sort, so maybe she'll cover up some evidence if it looks like Willow might have gone after Drew. Trina Robinson also has some rattled moments ahead of her, so she might end up worried that Portia, Curtis, or even Kai Taylor went too far against Drew. Michael Corinthos will eventually get updates on some new information, so we'll see if that relates to Drew's ordeal. On another note, Jason will face a shocker, while Jocelyn, Jax, and Vaughn fear they're not going to make it out of their mission alive. It sounds like Jason may ride to the rescue after Britt Westbourne uses that burner phone to summon him back to the Five Poppies Resort. As for Jack Brennan, he'll put his manipulation skills to good use when it comes to Anna and everything he's trying to leave her in the dark on. During the week of September 8-12, fans may see the aftermath of Jason saving Jocelyn and Vaughn. If Jason comes through for the WSB duo, he's going to have plenty of questions and concerns. Nevertheless, Jocelyn will survive this nightmare and will have an opportunity to go home to Carly sooner or later. Once Jason learns Jocelyn's WSB agent status, will he be willing to keep quiet or insist that Carly needs to know the truth? Of course, we should also talk about captive Rick Lansing, since Molly Lansing Davis may notice he's missing. The same goes for Elizabeth Baldwin, so she may go poking around for answers about Rick's disappearance. Although Alexis Davis, Nick Agnès, Christina Corinthos Davis, and Ava Jerome will try to cover their tracks, this Rick Messus will be tougher than they bargained for. As for Scout, she may end up scared and deeply distraught over Drew's whodunit story. Scout may find herself worried about losing yet another parent. There's also the matter of Ryan Pavy's looming return, so GH writers will lay more groundwork for his comeback, whether it be as Nathan or another character connected to the project at the Five Poppies Resort. In 2024, General Hospital made its wisest casting decision in years when it decided to bring back Emmy winner Rick Hurst as the quintessential sleazy soap opera lawyer, Rick Lansing. Since the moment he waltzed back into Port Charles last summer, he has been nothing but a sheer delight, and this past week, he outdid himself as Rick found himself in a rather delicate situation. Before Rick ended up chained to a gurney in Alexis's basement, he finally had it out with Christina and said everything that's been pent up inside for months. And he wasn't wrong. Hurst delivered Rick's fury and frustration in a blistering monologue that Christina deserved. Who didn't want to cheer Rick on as he lay into Christina for accidentally almost killing him when she was really trying to kill Ava? That's a testament to Hurst's talents that we can actually feel bad for Rick, despite the pond scum things he does. Rick also had some amazing points as Hurst brought his softer side out as he defended his daughter and pointed out that it was Molly's baby that died too, and not just Christina's. In fact, the baby was always meant to be Molly's. When Ava arrived, Hurst's chemistry with Maura West was on fire as always. That's when Rick returned to sleazy mode as he gleefully told Ava what he did with all her money. Bad move, Rick, because Ava was ready with a paperweight. As Ava, Alexis, and Christina debated what to do with an unconscious, Hurst had the hard job of lying sprawled out in Alexis's living room without bursting out in laughter, because the ensuing scenes were side-splitting. However, when Rick magically appeared in Alexis' basement moments later, chained to a gurney with a ball gag in his mouth, Hurst was on fire. The terror in Rick's eyes when he woke was palpable, as was the fear in his voice. When Alexis paid a visit the next morning, Hurst showed us Rick's slow realization that Alexis helped do this to him, and she took glee in it, reminding Rick that he did something similar to Carly years ago. General Hospital spoilers hint that Willow Tate may snap over Drew Kane's broken promise. Will Judge Eva Heron's death trigger a hostile meltdown? The writing's on the wall when it comes to someone trying to kill Drew soon. Other characters are threatening Drew left and right, so everything's coming together for the whodunit that's been building for a while now. At the moment, Willow is one of the few people in Port Charles who wants Drew alive. That's because Willow has decided Drew is her only option when it comes to getting her children back. But she may not feel that way for much longer. Willow absolutely needs to be on the suspect list if someone's going to try and wipe Drew off the map. It would be silly to leave Willow out of any mystery story that might be brewing, so she needs a reason to turn against Drew again. Maybe Judge Heron's sudden demise could tie in with that. Now that Judge Heron has been found floating in the water, She obviously can't be questioned or offer any confirmation on the bribe she accepted. Drew has zero evidence that Judge Herron got this bribe at all. The only thing Drew has to go on right now is the intel he received from Marco Rios. But Sidwell may take steps to sabotage any investigation into Judge Herron's financial info. Drew has been acting like he can get a new judge that's more favorable, but wouldn't he have done that the first time around, if he actually could? Whether Willow believes Sonny Corinthos is behind any bribery scheme or not, she may worry Drew won't be able to prove anything, and the next judge won't rule in her favor either. Plus, Michael Corinthos was riled up enough to talk about pushing back the visitation hearing indefinitely after Drew's latest threats. Willow may soon blame Drew for getting Judge Herron killed and fly off the handle over this visitation hearing that's constantly getting stalled. Drew will be full of broken promises for the umpteenth time, so it's easy to see how Willow might be driven over the edge. Willow could certainly join the suspect pool once the whodunit gets underway, so stay tuned for updates on any shocking Drew news to come. Cameron Matheson recently claimed on Instagram that he wasn't leaving the show, so Drew may survive the upcoming attempt on his life. However, GH writers could still get a lot of drama out of someone trying to eliminate Drew for good. While Holly was the love of Robert's life on General Hospital, the late Tristan Rogers often said Robert might end up with Anna on a beach drinking Mai Tais when all was said and done. Now Finola Hughes, who plays Anna, is recalling Robert and Anna's first marriage, which was revealed in flashback on GH. Scorpio and Anna backstory, Hughes began in a thoughtful Instagram post. We drove up to Santa Barbara in a coach for a remote. I was pretty nervous as I hadn't been on the show long, I don't think. It was such a fun shoot. Basically, Tris and I goofed around. He had the ability to make everything fun, but then would become serious at the drop of a hat, like the impromptu Italian wedding, the actress said of her General Hospital leading man. He wanted it to be so authentic. He wanted love to be the basis of the Anna and Robert storyline. He took those things seriously, his character. He understood the audience needed a reason to accept Anna, even though she would betray him. Honestly, I just followed his lead. When we shot the Rolling in the Waves, we were both freezing, the actress recalls. A sweet man who had a house on the beach warmed up his jacuzzi, and we jumped in it afterwards. That hot spa was a highlight, other than how excited we both were to drive a vintage Jaguar. Happy memories. Anna was brought onto the canvas to give Rogers a scene partner as TV wife Emma Sams was leaving GH to join the primetime soap dynasty as Fallon, following Pamela Sue Martin's departure. Robert and Anna remarried for a second time in 94 No Fun, but their partnership was changed forever the following year when they, along with Cesar Faison, were presumed killed in a boat explosion. The secret agents returned as figments of daughter Robin's imagination in 95, following Robin's HIV diagnosis. They made more permanent returns when Hughes brought Anna to Pine Valley, the setting for the gone but never forgotten All My Children. In the mid-2000s, Robert and Anna were reunited on General Hospital. The characters continued to interact, but not romantically, until Robert left the canvas last fall with Holly. Here's what you missed in Port Charles. General Hospital spoilers for September 5th, 2025. Tease shock across Port Charles after a week of death threats all toward the same person. Lucas revealed Maxie had slipped into a coma, so he suggested she go to a hospital in Boston, and her family said their goodbyes. After arguing with Christina, Rick was joined at Alexa's by Ava, who also argued with him and then clocked him over the head with a paperweight. Laura and Martin overheard Alexis threaten Drew's life. Molly found Cody kissing Ava, and he admitted to both of them that Christina paid him to seduce her. Jason apologized for hurting Britt. Cody confided in Dante about Molly and Ava, while Molly vented to Michael about Drew's latest scheme keeping them all from Scout. Alexis walked in on the scene with Rick knocked out and agreed to help Ava and Christina move the body. Colette told Pascal they need the code to Brennan's safe, and a tied-up Joss gave it up. Later, Colette met with Sidwell, who was glad his plan to silence Maxie worked. Willow offered to get back together with Drew if he helped her get her kids back. When Nina found out, she threatened Drew's life. Rick woke up tied up in Alexis's basement and saw her standing over him. She explained what happened and that their plan was to keep him there for 30 days until they got access to the bonds he created with the Cassadine money. Ava acquired sleeping pills from Lucas, planning to use them on Rick. Gio lit a candle for Camilla for her birthday and ran into Brooklyn at the church, where the two finally bonded. Stella was suspended from GH and arrested. Sidwell offered to help Lucy keep deception afloat. Dante talked to Gio at the church, but he admitted he doesn't see a relationship happening between them. Tracy and Martin agreed to come together to help Stella. Frustrated with how much Jordan offered to help Stella for Curtis, Portia slept with Isaiah in her office. Drew revealed what he knows about the judge to Michael. Sidwell scorned Marco for blabbing to Drew, while Sonny assured Michael he did not pay off the judge. Kai overheard Drew fighting with Curtis and discovered Drew's true colors. Later, he apologized to Trina. Britt discovered Joss and Vaughn tied up. Chase spoke to the judge on Willow's behalf, while Willow broke it to Elizabeth that she's reconciling with Drew. Danny revealed to Carly that he can't legally be served until his dad is back, so he technically is still allowed to see his sister. Later, Drew showed up, and Carly threatened his life. Stella was released on bail. Portia and Isaiah agreed that what happened between them can't happen again. So, hospital spoilers indicate that Marco Rios has made a move against Sonny Corinthos, retaliating at him for the role that he believed that Sonny played in his mother, Natalia Ramirez's death. Marco made this move against his father, Jens Sidwell's wishes. Marco's budding romance with Dr. Lucas Jones could be at risk when he finds out what Marco did. Marco told Drew Kane about Judge Eva Herron being bribed with $1 million deposited into her bank account the day before the custody verdict. Drew will not stop until he proves that Sonny bribed the judge, therefore awarding Michael Corinthos full custody of his children, Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos. It's only a matter of time before Lucas gets wind of the fact that Marco told him about the bribe, and that now Michael will risk losing his children forever thanks to Marco. After learning that Marco told him about the alleged bribe of Judge Herron, Lucas would be livid. He would be angry that Marco did not come to him first, but also he would be livid that Marco wasn't thinking about protecting Wiley and Amelia, as custody could revert back to Willow Tate. Lucas would tell Marco that he did not put the welfare of the children first, and Michael should pay for what Sonny may or may not have done. He cannot get past this, and he refuses to forgive him. A stubborn Marco would tell him that he needed Sonny to pay for killing his mother, and he did what he had to do. Lucas would tell him that it's over between them and that there is no going back now. In a last-ditch effort to help Michael and keep Willow away from their children, Lucas would report Willow slapping him during the shift at GH. This could prevent Willow from having access to Wiley and Amelia, and help Michael in the process. Michael will need all the help that he can get now that Sonny has been accused of bribery. Lucas would tell Marco that he needs to corroborate his story since he saw the slap. This is the least he could do for him, but it would divide them even further. What do you think? Do you think that Lucas will find out that Marco exposed Judge Herron allegedly being bribed by Sonny? Will Lucas end things with Marco after he confronts him? Will Lucas take action to help Michael keep his children? General Hospital spoilers indicate that Rick Lansing is being held captive in Alexis Davis's basement. Alexis, Ava Jerome, and Christina Corinthos Davis hatched a plan to keep Rick there for 30 days in order for Rick's bond to expire, and he loses all of the money that he embezzled from Alexis. However, there could be a development that none of them was anticipating. Molly Lansing Davis, Rick's daughter with Alexis, lives in the house, and she could find Rick in the basement. Molly would grow concerned that she has not heard from her father in a while. He would not respond to calls and messages, which would start to make Molly worry. Molly would still be unaware that her father is in the basement, being held captive by Alexis and Christina. She would ask Elizabeth Baldwin if she has heard from Rick, and she would tell her that she hasn't. Everyone would assume that Rick took off and is out of town, but Molly could start to worry since he is acting as Willow Tate's lawyer at the moment and would not abandon someone while working on a case. Molly would start to believe that Rick is missing. Molly would start to believe that Ava had something to do with Rick suddenly being missing. She would realize that Ava was getting tired of Rick, and that perhaps a fight escalated and she hurt Rick. Ava would deny Molly's accusations and tell her that she has no idea where Rick took off to. Molly could tell Christina and Alexis of her suspicions about Ava being involved in Rick's sudden departure from Port Charles, and they would work to convince her that Rick took off. Molly would be doing some work at home in the living room. She could start hearing suspicious noises coming from the basement. At first, she would brush it off. However, as the noises continue, Molly would start to realize that something is happening down there. She would head down to the basement to investigate, and be stunned to find Rick. She would be relieved to see him, and be quick to let him go. Rick would explain that this is a long story, and that Alexis and Christina have been lying to her. Will Rick tell Molly the whole truth? What do you think? Do you think that Molly will start to look into Rick's disappearance? Will Molly find Rick in the basement? Will Rick tell Molly the whole ugly story? General Hospital spoilers and updates for Monday, September 1st reveal, although Monday will be a repeat, new drama returns on Tuesday, September 2nd. Trina Robinson has a big ask, Carly Spencer has a warning, and Rocco Falconeri delivers grim news. For Monday's episode, which is Labor Day in the United States, GH will show a repeat from January 31st, 2025. Rick Lansing and Ava Jerome makes a plea, while Dante Falconeri confronts Anna Devane. Brooke Lynn Quartermain Chase seeks out Cody Bell. Also, Laura Collins gives Lulu Spencer food for thought. Elsewhere, Brad Cooper makes an outrageous request. In Friday's episode, Kai Taylor's eyes were finally opened to who and what Drew Kane really is. He confessed to Trina that he overheard Drew threatening her father, Curtis Ashford, and getting Stella Henry arrested. Kai will offer to try and get Aunt Stella out of her predicament, but Trina tells him it's not Aunt Stella he can save, it's her mother. But seeing Kai realized he's working for a monster, Portia Robinson revealed to her daughter Drew's blackmail of the past several months over her falsifying Heather Weber's medical records. But seeing Kai realized he's working for a monster, how can he help? Might he do a little falsifying of the records Drew has on Portia himself, or destroying the proof? In the meantime, Carly is with Elizabeth Weber, and the subject of their conversation is Willow Tate, who just told Elizabeth she's reconciling with Drew. Carly may well issue other warnings to other people during this episode, but right now she tells Elizabeth if Willow believes a word that comes out of Drew's mouth, that's on her. Elizabeth, who took Willow in after the wedding that wasn't, and Willow's breakup with Drew, thought she'd lost her mind and told her so. Carly is fed up with Drew as much as everyone else is in Port Charles, having witnessed his true colors coming out shortly after Jason Morgan arrived back in town. But everyone is finding out there's a lot more to Drew's drastic changes than jealousy over his twin. In the meantime, Christina Corinthos Davis is having a brother-sister talk with Michael Corinthos. Christina seems almost shocked at what Michael tells her, perhaps taking his words personally, even though he appears to be referring to Willow. He says, "She's made a lot of bad choices. Now she's going to have to live with the consequences. Right now, she, Ava Jerome, and Alexis Davis have Rick Lansing tied up in Alexis's basement. Might Christina be regretting their bad choice and worrying about the consequences she might have to live with?" Speaking of Willow, she's at work at the hospital and continuing her conversation with Harrison Chase. She's smiling as she tells him she's come up with a way to get her kids back. Actually, it's most likely she thinks reconciling with Drew will get her kids back, but believing he'll do the legwork. That's definitely a bad choice on Willow's part, but it doesn't seem anyone is able to get through to her for long. Or has she decided to take her own actions to get her kids? And where there's a Willow, there's a way. It looks like Rocco and Danny Morgan decided to call Sonny Corinthos for help when they spotted Judge Eva Haran's body. She was face down, floating in the water by the piers, and no doubt someone decided to keep her quiet for good. Gen Z Sidwell, for one, wasn't happy when Marco Rios revealed to Drew that the judge was paid to give custody to Michael. Someone may be framed for the murder, but who does the framing, and who will they frame? Rocco looks at Sonny and tells him that they found a body. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with GH right now. Come back here often for General Hospital spoilers, news, and updates. General Hospital spoilers say that when it comes to Christina Davis and Av Jerome, let's just put it this way: Ava deserves everything that she's getting from the woman who happens to be the same version of her, but just 20 years younger. A lot of people would agree that they are both self-centered, spoiled, and entitled mob princesses. Christina is a POS, but Ava is worse. Her and Ava need to be cellmates. A murderer and an attempted one, right? And while a lot of fans don't like Christina, they are not mad at her for trying to kill Ava. At least, that's what the consensus seems to be. Of course, General Hospital fans on the internet certainly did have a lot to say about this dynamic. Some have even written on social media comments such as, "Ava is Ava. We know who she is, and we know why she is the way she is, and yet I still can feel some compassion for her, even at her worst moment. But I put that squarely on Maura West." As much as I hated her for the Kate mess and the crypt sex, I still couldn't really hate her. Another fan of the show wrote, "Christina is a pain in the ass, but she's not worse than Ava, and I don't understand why people don't see that clearly. She's definitely beyond annoying, but Ava is actually evil. I think that the Christina recast is a good actress, but I never hated Christina when Lexi was playing her the way I have since she's been recasted." And then there was this comment as well. They definitely need to add more nuance to Christina, but I actually don't blame her for wanting Ava dead. The Jerome family is responsible for Morgan's death, and Ava holds the bulk of the blame. It goes without saying that GH fans will simply have to tune in each and every day to find out what will happen next. For now, drop us a line with your thoughts in our comments section below. And as always, come back right here for all the latest news and updates on your favorite celebs. General Hospital spoilers suggest that Willow Tate and Harrison Chase had quite the romance back in the day. While she moved on to Michael Corinthos and then Drew Kane, and Chase is madly in love with Brooklyn Quartermain, the nurse and the cop remained friends. In fact, they have been running into each other quite a bit lately. Could the soap be teasing a reunion? Willow's portrayer, Caitlin McMullen, recently caught up with Soaps.com, and the topic of a Chillo reunion came up. When asked about the potential for these two to come back together, the actress noted, she thinks that it probably maybe could occur. McMullen adds, "I'd like to think that she'd be like, no, Chase and I just will always have this love for each other. We'll always have each other's backs, no matter what," McMullen stated. But even though Willow and Chase have been through some crazy ups and downs, especially with the breakups and all that, I think in the soap world, it could definitely turn into an emotional quagmire. While Chase is still pretty much the same kind-hearted guy he was back then, Willow has changed dramatically since the days she was with the cop. Drew's sleazeball attitude has really rubbed off on her. Plus, losing Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos has tremendously affected her mental health. In fact, Willow has been teetering in bad girl territory, not only stalking Daisy Gilmore, so bad that Sasha Gilmore left town, but by the way she's treated Michael in the aftermath of their breakup. That doesn't mean a romantic reunion couldn't take place, but there's also a very good chance Willow manipulates herself into Chase's heart once again, especially since Chase and BLQ are facing issues with growing their family. Would you like to see Willow and Chase reunite? Share your thoughts. Tune into the ABC Soap Daily and check out this site often for the best General Hospital updates, spoilers, and news. There was a wide array of great moments this week. Lots to talk about on General Hospital this week. Here we go with our best moments from August 25-29. Portia is jealous of Jordan, and she may have good reason, but attacking Curtis right after Stella was hauled off to jail was extremely inappropriate. Her little fit could have waited until the situation was under control. The icing on the cake was when Curtis was leaving to help his auntie. Portia threatened to end their marriage if he left her office. Curtis looked back at her and promptly walked out the door. We just pictured him saying, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." We don't usually see a drunk Anna, but maybe we should see more of her. She, just like most of Port Charles, is devastated over Maxie. So she went to the Brown Dog, had a few drinks, and started to worry about Jocelyn. Anna is angry that Brennan recruited Joss to the WSB, so she called to tell him, while slightly slurring her words. It was interesting to see how quickly Brennan showed up to check on her. Maybe when Carly dumps him. It was no surprise to see Willow fall back to Drew. It did not take her long to believe he is her savior once again. When did she become so dumb? He promised to get her kids back, and she didn't care how he did it, but she gave him an extra incentive. She dangled herself as a prize. If Drew could get her custody, she would go back to him. The scenes with Maxie were hard. Spinelli, her kids, Mac, Brooklyn, and Lulu all had to say goodbye when she went to Boston in a coma. It was Christina Wagner, playing Felicia, who broke our hearts. The actress did an amazing job as a devastated mom, right down to wearing sweats, messy hair, and smeared makeup. We felt every emotion she had. Sadly, Wagner had gone through heartache with her own child, so kudos to the actress for those scenes. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you!